In a world where connections grow tighter every day, we're constantly bombarded with endless opinions and judgments from every direction. Social media feeds overflow with comparisons, workplaces echo with critiques, and even loved ones have their say about how we should live. It's no wonder maintaining a steady mindset and inner peace feels harder than ever. Have you ever felt like this? Struggling to hold on to who you are amidst the noise of everyone else's expectations? Let me share a story. A close friend of mine, a dedicated professional in his 40s, spent years chasing approval. Every critique from his boss and every casual comment from colleagues left him questioning his worth. He threw himself into meeting everyone's expectations, thinking it would bring him success and happiness. But instead, he found himself drained, frustrated, and miles away from the peace he truly desired. If this resonates with you, know you're not alone, and there's a way out. What if I told you that a simple daily ritual rooted in Stoic philosophy could transform your mindset and shield you from the opinions of others? This ritual empowers you to focus on your inner strength, build emotional resilience, and master self-control. Stay with me to uncover this life-changing practice. And if you know someone who's caught in the same struggle, share this video with them. Together, let's help each other reclaim the inner peace we all deserve. 1. Recognize your power. How often have you felt the sting of someone's words? A colleague's offhand remark about your work, a family member questioning your life choices, a social media comment that lingers in your mind far longer than it should. These opinions, often thrown out casually, can strike deep. They make you question your decisions, your worth, and even your identity. But here's the truth. Their opinions only have power if you let them. You hold the absolute power to choose how you react. Their thoughts are theirs alone. They don't define you unless you allow it. Imagine standing in the middle of a crowded marketplace. Voices shout from every corner, each trying to tell you who you are or what you should be. Some are encouraging, others critical. You can't silence them all, but you can choose which ones you listen to. This choice, this ability to decide what affects you, is your true power. The Stoics understood this deeply. Epictetus, a former slave turned philosopher, taught that while we cannot control what others say or do, we can always control our response. This is the dichotomy of control, the cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. It's not about fighting every opinion or trying to win approval. It's about mastering yourself. Let's return to the story of my friend. For years, he was at the mercy of his boss's opinions. Every critique felt like a dagger, every compliment like a lifeline. He poured his energy into chasing approval, convinced that his worth was tied to others' perceptions. But one day, after months of feeling drained and lost, he stumbled upon the writings of Marcus Aurelius. One passage struck him like lightning. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That was the turning point. He began practicing a daily ritual rooted in Stoicism. Every morning, he would sit quietly and reflect on what was within his control and what wasn't. When his boss made a harsh comment, instead of spiraling into self-doubt, he reminded himself, this is his opinion. I control how I feel about it. Slowly, he reclaimed his peace, one choice at a time. Perhaps you face something similar. Maybe it's a partner's dismissive words, a peer's judgmental glance, or even your nagging doubts. It's easy to feel overwhelmed, to believe that your worth depends on external validation. But the truth is, it doesn't. You are the sole guardian of your emotions and reactions. The next time someone's opinion threatens to derail you, pause and ask yourself, does this truly matter? Is this within my control? By doing so, you take back your power. You stop being a passive receiver of others' judgments and become an active participant in your peace. This practice may seem small, but its effects are profound. It's a shield, not to block out the world, but to protect your inner fortress. The Stoics called this fortress ataraxia, a state of unshakable tranquility. It's built not by changing the world, but by changing how you interact with it. Remember, the voices around you will never stop. The marketplace of opinions will always buzz, but you can stand firm, grounded in your values, untouched by the noise. Like my friend, you can find strength not in controlling others, but in mastering yourself. Your power lies in this choice, to listen or to let go. And with that choice comes freedom. the kind of freedom that Stoic philosophy has championed for centuries. 2. Focus on your values. How many times have you found yourself overwhelmed by what others think you should do? Maybe it's the pressure to pursue a certain career path, meet societal expectations, or live up to the image others have of you. This constant pull toward others' opinions can leave you feeling disconnected from your own desires and values. The truth is, when you allow others to dictate your direction, you lose sight of what truly matters to you. The result? A life lived chasing approval rather than fulfillment. But what if you could break free? What if you could focus on what genuinely resonates with you, rather than what others think is right? The key lies in defining your core values and letting them guide your decisions. When you align your actions with what you believe in, the judgments and criticisms of others naturally lose their weight. Their voices fade into the background, and your path becomes clearer. This idea has deep roots in Stoic philosophy. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on living in harmony with one's values, emphasizing that the opinions of others should never steer us away from our principles. He once wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." In other words, by focusing on what you hold dear, you reclaim your peace and purpose. I remember a close acquaintance who struggled with this very dilemma. He was an accomplished graphic designer, yet he spent years ignoring his passion for art because his family believed a more practical career would ensure stability. They saw his work as frivolous, a hobby rather than a profession. Trying to meet their expectations, he abandoned his dream and took on a corporate job that drained him. Day by day, he felt more distant from himself. One day, during a casual conversation, he shared how exhausted he felt, always trying to make others proud. He asked, "When does it end? When will they finally be happy?" That's when it hit him. They might never be. He realized he was chasing an endless cycle of expectations, and in doing so, neglecting his happiness. Slowly, he began to reconnect with his passion, starting with small projects on the side. Over time, as his confidence grew, he transitioned back into full-time design, grounded in his values and no longer swayed by external opinions. Perhaps this reminds you of your struggles. Maybe it's not about careers, but about relationships, lifestyle choices, or personal goals. The world is full of people ready to impose their views, but their expectations aren't your compass. Your values are. To apply this principle, start with a simple exercise. Each morning, take a few minutes to identify what truly matters to you. Ask yourself, what are my top 3 values? What can I do today to honor them? This daily ritual helps you center yourself, ensuring that your actions reflect your beliefs rather than external pressures. By doing this, you create a mental filter. When someone criticizes or questions your choices, their opinions won't shake you. Instead of reacting impulsively or second-guessing yourself, you'll have a foundation to return to. A foundation built on your principles. This isn't about ignoring others entirely. Wisdom lies in knowing which advice to consider and which to disregard. Seneca once said, "If a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable." Your values are your port. Without them, you'll drift aimlessly, pushed by every gust of opinion. Living in alignment with your values isn't always easy, but it's liberating. You'll find a sense of clarity and peace that no external validation can offer. So, when the world's noise grows loud, let your values be your guide, and you'll discover that the opinions of others no longer hold the power to steer you off course. 3. Challenge your negative thoughts. It's natural to feel a flood of emotions when someone's opinion strikes a nerve. A critical comment from a friend, a disapproving glance from a colleague, or an online remark from a stranger can quickly spiral into doubt and frustration. The problem arises when these moments become more than fleeting thoughts and start planting seeds of negativity. If unchecked, these thoughts can grow, distorting your perception and clouding your judgment. When you find yourself caught in this cycle, pause and ask, is this true? Often, the harsh opinions or criticisms we obsess over are more a reflection of the other person's perspective than of reality. Next, consider, does this really matter? Many of the things that trouble us will be irrelevant in days, weeks, or months. And finally, ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? Often, The worst-case scenario is far less daunting than our imagination leads us to believe. By challenging these thoughts, you regain clarity and control over your mind. This practice resonates strongly with Stoic philosophy. Epictetus emphasized the power of questioning our impressions, reminding us that external events are neither good nor bad, only our judgments of them make them so. This approach is not about ignoring reality, but about stripping away unnecessary drama to see situations as they truly are. I once knew someone, a driven entrepreneur, who struggled with constant worry about what others thought of him. Every decision he made, from product launches to team meetings, felt like it was under a microscope. One evening, after receiving a critical email from a client, he couldn't sleep. His mind replayed the words over and over, "This isn't what we expected." Those 6 words consumed him, and he began questioning his abilities, his business, and even his career choice. The following day, during a conversation, I asked him to break down the situation. Together, we applied Stoic principles to the problem. First, he questioned whether the criticism was valid. After reflecting, he realized the client's expectations had been vague from the start, something he could address in future communication. Next, he considered if the critique truly mattered in the long term. Would it impact his business a year from now? The answer was no. Finally, he imagined the worst-case scenario, losing the client. While unpleasant, he saw that it wasn't the end of his career, only a challenge to grow from. By dissecting the situation this way, his panic subsided, and he was able to move forward with confidence. Think about how often similar situations unfold in your own life. A passing comment from a colleague might leave you questioning your skills, or a single post on social media might make you feel inadequate. These moments, if left unchallenged, can shape your mood, your decisions, and even your self-esteem. But it doesn't have to be this way. When negativity takes hold, challenge it with logic. Ask yourself those 3 questions. Is it true? Does it matter? What's the worst that could happen? This simple practice brings objectivity to your emotions, helping you respond with reason rather than reaction. Seneca, another great Stoic thinker, wrote that much of what we fear never comes to pass. By examining our fears and doubts through this lens, we find that most of them are shadows, insubstantial and fleeting. The real power lies in our ability to confront these shadows, not to run from them. As you go through your day, remind yourself that thoughts, like clouds, are temporary. They drift in and out of your mind, but you decide which ones to hold on to. Negative thoughts only gain power when you allow them to linger unchallenged. By applying Stoic wisdom, you can shift your perspective, transform your emotions, and face life's challenges with calm and clarity. 4. Embrace imperfection. We live in a world where perfection is glorified. Social media filters, polished resumes, and success stories often make us feel like we must measure up to impossible standards. When someone points out our flaws, it can feel like a spotlight on our inadequacies. But here's a truth that's liberating when you embrace it. No one is perfect, not even you. Every person has flaws, makes mistakes, and carries scars. These imperfections are what make us human. Accepting them frees you from the exhausting burden of trying to please everyone and allows you to live authentically. By acknowledging imperfection, you shift your focus from external validation to self-acceptance. The weight of others' judgments begins to lessen because their criticisms no longer define your worth. Instead of striving to eliminate your flaws, you begin to see them as stepping stones for growth. This idea resonates deeply with Stoic philosophy. Epictetus taught that we should focus on progress rather than perfection. He said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Mastery, in this sense, isn't about flawless execution, but about understanding and working with our limitations. For the Stoics, flaws were not failures but opportunities to grow in wisdom and resilience. A friend of mine, a teacher in his 50s, learned this the hard way. He had always been the perfect mentor, organized, well-prepared, and respected by his students. But one semester, he made an error in grading that impacted a student's record. The backlash was immediate. The student's parents demanded answers, his colleagues whispered about his carelessness, and he felt crushed by the weight of his mistake. He began questioning his competence and even considered leaving the profession he had loved for decades. One evening, during a walk to clear his mind, he remembered a passage from Marcus Aurelius. Do not be ashamed of mistakes. Instead, learn from them and continue forward. Inspired, he decided to approach the situation differently. Instead of obsessing over the error, he acknowledged it openly, apologized, and worked to rectify it. He also reflected on how this mistake could help him improve his process moving forward. In the end, the experience didn't ruin his career. It made him a better teacher. He found that his students respected him more for owning up to the error than they ever had when he appeared flawless. It was a turning point, one that allowed him to embrace his humanity and grow stronger because of it. How often have you let a mistake or a perceived flaw define you? Perhaps it's a project that didn't go as planned, a conversation where you stumbled over your words, or a time when you fell short of expectations. These moments might feel monumental in the heat of the moment, but in hindsight, they often carry lessons that shape us. When you face criticism or your own self-doubt, remind yourself that perfection is an illusion. The people who appear flawless from the outside, whether they're celebrities, colleagues, or family members, all have their struggles and shortcomings. Accepting this doesn't mean settling for mediocrity. It means understanding that growth comes from learning, not from avoiding failure. To practice this, consider adopting a Stoic ritual. At the end of each day, reflect on a mistake or challenge you faced and ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How will it help me grow? By reframing your imperfections as opportunities for progress, you take control of your narrative and let go of the fear of judgment. As you continue this journey, you'll find that embracing imperfection isn't about lowering your standards. It's about living with courage and authenticity. When you stop chasing an unattainable ideal, you allow yourself to focus on what truly matters, becoming the best version of yourself, not the perfect one. And in doing so, you'll find a kind of peace that no external validation can ever provide. 5. Set boundaries. Have you ever caught yourself saying yes when every part of you wanted to say no? Maybe it's agreeing to take on an extra task at work when your plate is already full. Or perhaps it's committing to a social event you don't have the energy for, all because you fear disappointing someone. Over time, these small compromises pile up, leaving you drained, resentful, and questioning why your own needs always seem to come second. The ability to say no is one of the most powerful tools for protecting your peace. Setting clear boundaries isn't about rejecting others. It's about respecting yourself. When you prioritize your well-being, you're not being selfish. You're preserving your time, energy, and emotional space for what truly matters. Without boundaries, you become a canvas for others to paint their expectations, leaving little room for your own identity and needs. This principle aligns deeply with Stoic philosophy. Seneca wrote extensively about the importance of conserving our energy for meaningful pursuits. He believed that saying yes to everything dilutes our focus and weakens our resolve. For the Stoics, living a virtuous life required discipline and the courage to prioritize what matters most. By setting boundaries, you're practicing wisdom, choosing where to direct your efforts and what to let go of. I once knew someone who struggled with this daily. She was a talented marketing professional with a reputation for being a team player. Whenever her colleagues needed help, she was the first to step in, often sacrificing her tasks to assist others. It wasn't long before she became the go-to person for every minor issue, and her responsibilities began to suffer. Despite working late hours to catch up, she still felt overwhelmed and undervalued. One day, after yet another weekend spent fixing someone else's mistakes, she realized she couldn't continue this way. She began reflecting on what truly mattered to her career growth, her health, and her relationships. Inspired by Stoic teachings, she decided to implement boundaries. She started with small steps, like politely declining non-essential tasks or redirecting colleagues to the appropriate resources. At first, it wasn't easy. Some coworkers were taken aback, even frustrated. But over time, they adjusted, and she found herself feeling lighter, more focused, and more in control of her work and life. What she feared would make her seem uncooperative earned her respect. By valuing her limits, she taught others to value them too. Think about your own life. How often do you agree to something simply to avoid conflict or disappointment? Perhaps it's a request from a friend, an extra project at work, or even family obligations that leave you stretched too thin. While it may feel easier in the moment to say yes, the long-term cost of constantly putting others before yourself is far greater. To practice setting boundaries, start by identifying what truly drains your energy. Is it the endless work emails late at night? The social commitments you reluctantly agree to? Once you've pinpointed these areas, prepare yourself with kind but firm responses. For example, you might say, "I'd love to help, but I'm currently at capacity." Or, "I appreciate the invitation, but I need some time to recharge." The Stoics viewed boundaries as essential for maintaining balance. Marcus Aurelius advised protecting one's inner peace by focusing only on what is within your control. This includes how you allocate your time and energy. Setting boundaries isn't about shutting people out, it's about creating space for yourself to thrive. As you begin to say no to what doesn't serve you, you'll notice a shift. You'll have more time for what truly matters, whether it's pursuing your goals, nurturing relationships, or simply resting. Saying no is an act of self-respect, a quiet but powerful declaration that your well-being is worth protecting. And in that act, you'll find a deeper sense of freedom and peace, just as the Stoics intended. 6. Surround yourself with supportive people. Not all feedback is created equal. Some opinions, no matter how well-intentioned, can lead you astray or chip away at your confidence. On the other hand, there are comments that sting at first, but hold a kernel of truth meant to help you grow. The key is learning to differentiate between these and to focus on the voices that uplift, inspire, and guide you toward your best self. Relationships are powerful. They can either be a source of strength or a drain on your energy. That's why it's crucial to surround yourself with people who genuinely care for you, support your goals, and challenge you in a way that helps you grow. Positive relationships act as an emotional anchor. When you're faced with criticism or doubt, they remind you of your worth and give you the courage to keep moving forward. They nurture your confidence and provide a safe space for you to reflect and improve. This aligns perfectly with Stoic philosophy. Seneca emphasized the importance of keeping virtuous companions, writing that our company shapes who we become. The Stoics believed that surrounding yourself with wise, supportive individuals strengthens your character, just as iron sharpens iron. By choosing your relationships carefully, you ensure that the voices you listen to are those that align with your values and help you stay resilient in the face of life's challenges. A friend of mine, a writer, once shared how transformative this principle was for him. He spent years in a toxic work environment where every idea he pitched was met with sarcasm or dismissal. Over time, he started doubting his abilities, questioning whether he even had the talent to succeed. One day, after yet another meeting filled with passive-aggressive remarks, he decided to reconnect with an old mentor who had always believed in his potential. That single conversation changed everything. His mentor not only reminded him of his strengths, but encouraged him to seek out a different circle. People who appreciated his creativity and supported his vision. He took that advice to heart, finding a new writing group and building connections with individuals who valued collaboration and encouragement. With this new support system, his confidence returned and his work flourished. This story might resonate with your own experiences. Perhaps you've dealt with people who belittle your efforts or subtly plant seeds of doubt in your mind. Or maybe you've stayed in relationships out of obligation, even when they drained you emotionally. These situations can make it hard to stay grounded and resilient, but they also present an opportunity to reassess who you let into your life. When faced with negativity, ask yourself, does this person's opinion reflect who I am or who I want to become? If the answer is no, it's time to reevaluate that relationship. This doesn't mean cutting everyone off at the first sign of criticism. It means seeking out people whose intentions align with your values and who inspire you to grow. To practice this, take inventory of your relationships. Who uplifts you when times get tough? Who leaves you feeling drained or doubtful? Start prioritizing time with those who truly support and understand you. Even a short, meaningful conversation with a supportive friend can have a profound impact on your mindset. The Stoics believed that our relationships are a reflection of the virtues we strive to cultivate within ourselves. By choosing companions who embody qualities like kindness, wisdom, and resilience, you create an environment that fosters your own growth. Over time, you'll notice a shift. The criticisms that once shook you will no longer hold as much weight because your foundation will be stronger. When surrounded by a positive and encouraging network, you'll find it easier to stay focused on your goals, weather challenges with grace, and maintain a sense of inner peace. This isn't just about having a circle of friends. It's about creating a fortress of support that shields you from negativity and fuels your journey toward becoming your best self. 7. Practice self-compassion. In the constant pursuit of external validation, it's easy to forget one simple truth. You deserve the same kindness and understanding that you freely offer others. Too often, we chase approval, drown in self-criticism, and neglect our inner well-being. We become our own harshest judge, amplifying every mistake and second-guessing every decision. But when was the last time you truly listened to yourself? When was the last time you treated yourself with the same care and compassion you'd show a close friend? Being kind to yourself doesn't mean excusing every error or ignoring areas for growth. It means acknowledging your humanity and embracing the fact that imperfection is part of the journey. When you stumble, instead of tearing yourself down, imagine how you would respond to a friend in the same situation. You wouldn't berate them. You'd encourage them to learn and move forward. Extending that same compassion inward can transform how you navigate challenges and setbacks. This concept is deeply rooted in Stoic philosophy. Marcus Aurelius reminded us to act with justice and kindness toward others, but the Stoics also emphasize the importance of self-reflection and self-acceptance. Epictetus, for instance, advised against self-loathing, teaching that mistakes are opportunities to grow in wisdom and strength. Practicing self-compassion aligns with Stoic resilience, enabling you to face life's ups and downs with clarity and grace. I recall a colleague who constantly pushed himself to the brink. He was a perfectionist who set impossibly high standards for everything he did. At first glance, he appeared successful, always meeting deadlines, producing exceptional work, and earning recognition. But beneath the surface, he was exhausted, anxious, and deeply unsatisfied. When things didn't go as planned, he spiraled into self-doubt, blaming himself for even the smallest misstep. One day, after a particularly challenging project, he confided in me. His frustration wasn't just about the work, it was about his inability to let go of the idea that he had to be perfect. I shared a Stoic practice with him. At the end of each day, reflect not only on what went wrong, but also on what went right. Instead of focusing solely on mistakes, acknowledge your efforts and progress, no matter how small. He started doing this, and it changed his perspective. Gradually, he learned to be kinder to himself. When he made a mistake, he asked, "What can I learn from this?" instead of, "Why did I fail?" Over time, his confidence grew, not because he eliminated errors, but because he developed the resilience to move past them. Think about how often you criticize yourself. Perhaps it's after an awkward conversation, a missed opportunity, or a decision that didn't pan out as expected. That inner voice of judgment can be relentless, turning small missteps into mountains of regret. But you have the power to change that voice. Instead of tearing yourself down, practice self-compassion. Remind yourself that mistakes are part of life, and growth comes from facing them, not avoiding them. To cultivate this habit, try this simple Stoic exercise. At the end of the day, write down one thing you're proud of and one thing you'd like to improve. For improvement, focus on actionable steps you can take, rather than dwelling on what went wrong. By balancing self-reflection with self-compassion, you'll create a mindset that fosters growth without unnecessary self-punishment. The Stoics believe that strength lies in self-mastery, and self-mastery begins with understanding and accepting yourself. When you treat yourself with kindness, you build a solid foundation for resilience. You stop being your own worst critic and become your own strongest ally. So, as you navigate the complexities of life, remember to be gentle with yourself. Celebrate your progress, learn from your mistakes, and allow yourself the grace to grow. In doing so, you'll discover a well of inner peace and confidence that no external opinion can shake. In life's constant whirlwind of opinions, judgments, and challenges, the greatest strength lies in mastering yourself. Through the principles of Stoic philosophy, you now have the tools to reclaim your peace, build resilience, and lead a life guided by inner strength rather than external noise. Recognizing your power, focusing on your values, challenging negative thoughts, embracing imperfection, setting boundaries, surrounding yourself with supportive people, and practicing self-compassion are not just concepts. They are practices that can transform your life when done consistently. The beauty of these lessons is in their simplicity. They don't require perfection, only effort. Start small. Take 5 minutes each day to reflect, adjust, and realign yourself with what truly matters. If you stumble, remember that every misstep is an opportunity to grow stronger. As the Stoics taught, the power of resilience is cultivated one moment at a time, one choice at a time. Imagine a life where the opinions of others no longer hold you hostage, where your mind is a sanctuary of calm despite the chaos around you. This is the life you can build by practicing these principles daily. It's not about becoming someone new. It's about uncovering the strength, wisdom, and peace that already exist within you. I encourage you to share your journey in the comments below. What challenges have you faced, and how have you worked to overcome them? Your story could inspire someone else to take their first step toward mastering their emotions and finding inner peace. Remember, this path is not a sprint, but a steady journey. Practice daily, trust the process, and watch as you become the unwavering force in your own life. The Stoics believed this resilience was the key to true freedom, and now it's yours to claim.